Hello and welcome back to another installment of Eamon on Track. I am, of course, your host, Eamon Mader, and today I have invited my father, David Mader. Introduce yourself, Dad.
Hello, this is Eamon's dad.
Yes. And today we are going to be talking about Jesse Wells' studio album, Middle. So, Dad, I was wondering, why did you pick this album to bring on the show?
Well, I actually gave you the choice because I said, let's do one of these Jesse Wells albums because, I took you to one of your first concerts officially, last fall, and it was a Jesse Wells concert at the Danforth in Toronto. So I thought that, since you've been off for 2 years now, attending school, I thought this might be a good one to come back on right now. I think it's apropos for the time period we're living in and the kind of artist that Jesse Wells is. And I don't know if everyone's familiar with him, so I thought it might be a good opportunity to look at it. But I was like, let's do Jesse Wells, and then I offered you two options. Basically, I said let's either let's do this album, which is what we're going to talk about today, the middle, or the other choice I thought would have been good was the other, what's called Under the Power Lines, which is more of a compilation album.
Right. It's more of a greatest hits than anything. Now, I did admit I was tempted by that one because that's got all his big hits, all his famous songs, all my favorite songs. So like The Poor, War is and Murder, all those songs are on there. But I was interested in looking at something a bit more studio, a little bit more structured as an album.
Yeah, so Under the Power Lines, which again we're not covering today, but that's more of like and Jesse Wells as an artist, he developed, he's been making music most of his adult life and even in his adolescence, but he made a whole bunch of YouTube and TikTok videos of different songs, a lot of them politically motivated, a lot of them got a lot of humor in them. And so he made a series of songs that he promoted through social media, over a period of years. And then this is the album that comes after it. That's more of a fabricated the right word, but it has more intent. It has more existence as a true album. It's only a 45 minutes. Yeah.
Which is that the other one was like an hour at least, or like an hour and a half, I think, at least.
Because it's like it would have been over 40 songs or something, whereas this is like only, I think, 12, 14 we're covering today.
And that's the other reason I didn't pick that, is because I don't like especially long run tracks. I just tend to find that I check out at the middle portion of the album, and it isn't as interesting.
Anyway. So I think that this was a good choice, especially for our first one back, so that we're not here, for too long. I think this one's more digestible for a podcast.
I agree. When did you first hear Jesse Wells, and did you discover him by yourself, or was he recommended to you by someone?
So I did not. I had never heard of Jesse at all until your uncle Jeff, my brother, introduced me to him. Actually, with one of the songs that's on this album. It's the War Isn't Murder song, which I believe is the last track, if I'm correct.
War is a God? That's the song I think you're referring to. War is a God?
No, so I think in some versions, like War Isn't Murder is considered to be part of this album. It's not listed as one of the 12 official tracks. Maybe it's like more like a bonus track.
Okay.
I've seen included on some versions. War is a God is a different song that is on this album for sure. And War Isn't Murder was the first song I saw him do. It was while it's a YouTube video you can watch where he's playing Farm Aid, the fundraiser. It was a very poignant song. It's a well-crafted song, but it's also got a strong message to it.
It's very relevant too.
Yeah, which is Jesse Wells, he's born in 1992. So he's 10 years older than you, and he's
10 years younger than you.
And 9 years younger than me. So he's right in between you and I, age-wise. I think that we don't see a lot of artists like him in the modern age. Like, I've always been a fan of, folk music and politically motivated songs, like, especially like stuff like Bob Dylan, but more than just Bob Dylan, like a lot of the stuff we saw in the 20th century. And tracing back to our folk roots, we're of Nova Scotian descent, Eamon and I. And I think that tradition passed down through the Scots and the Irish, that is part of what the culture is made up out there. I think really resonated with me when I heard Jesse, because I'm like, well, this is an artist that he's from Arkansas and he's from a different part of North America than us, but there's a lot of commonality here. It's part of the reason I don't like all country music, but it's often the reason I do like some country music is because of those connections, the storytelling, the ability to convey a thought or an idea with a song versus just it being pure entertainment. And so a lot of Jesse's songs are like they really hit you, in terms of how poignant they are.
I definitely think that's a relevant consideration, because when I think of a lot of the music I hear, especially just like on the internet or on the radio or something like that, it's either like pop, which is fine, but sometimes you want something more than just pop, or it is political music. But I tend to find that a lot of the political music I hear is bad political music. I'm not going to name names, but like it's hard to find good somebody saying a message who I think is actually a good artist.
Yeah, because I think you can have a song that has a message, but it can be a bad song. It doesn't mean it's catchy. It doesn't mean it's I'm going to want to replay it. Like, I think that Jesse has that good balance of being talented and having something important to say about a lot of things. And, like the guy's music catalog is extensive. We're only talking about this 12 song album here. And a lot of these songs in particular, they're not as political, or they're not as overtly political, I would say.
Right.
They're way more, I think this is an album you can put on, listen to, and just enjoy in the background. You don't have to hang on every lyric in this particular album.
Yeah. The only thing I would say that is a problem considering that is War Is a God. That's like the really big political song of this album.
I agree. That one is, but that's only one of the 12, right? And I would say that the other tracks, they're all saying something, but they're much more subtle. Is what I would take from this this album. If you really like studied the lyrics, and then you have to like kind of sit there and think about them and interpret them. Whereas like when you watch like, War Isn't Murder or his Cancer song, or, a lot of the other songs he's made, those ones from Under the Power Lines, like there's no question what they're about. You can really, figure that out. These ones you have to kind of like interpret more, if that's your thing.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Moving on to the album's cover.
Yep. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not anything special. It's just him sitting there with a guitar.
It's pretty simple. Like it's a pretty simple album.
It's pretty simple. It's a pretty simple album cover. Yeah.
Yeah, and so this album, like, you can say the album cover is, maybe a little simple, and maybe it is, right? But I think this was the album too. The reason I suggested it was because it's kind of the one that really got noticed. So after he made all those protest songs, like, The Poor, Cancer, United Health, he makes this album that gets way more, like, I guess, cred with him with, like, I guess, true musicians. And more because he got noticed around, a couple of years ago, and then he makes this album, and this one, it won best folk album. No, sorry, that was so Under the Power Lines won the best folk album, but this one best Americana album, at the Grammy Awards in 2026, and on this album, what else do we? So it won the best American roots song for the. What? Are you there?
The best American what?
It won the Best American Root Song for middle.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, but there seems to be a delay.
Mm. Oh, weird. I don't know what's causing that. I think my internet's being a little wonky.
Yeah. Best Americana Performance for Horses. So he won nominated for 4 Grammys three Grammys for this album alone. And then, as we mentioned, Under the Power Lines.
Did he win any?
I don't think he won any. Let's see. I can check that out. So Jesse Wells. He did not win Best American Root Song. That went to Ancient Light.
Ancient Light. Can't say I've ever heard of it.
He did not win Best Americana Performance. That went to Godspeed by Mavis Staples. I've heard of the Staples.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Best Americana Album went to Big Money by John Batiste, who's like the longtime band leader of like Stephen Colbert. And he also didn't win for Under the Power Lines. That went to I'm With Her.
Man, snuffed out.
Snuffed out. But he went from being somebody who was a relative unknown to getting quite a bit of recognition within a couple of years. Like again, he's only born in 92. So what is he, like 30? Right. Well, he's
35.
Yeah, probably 35, 34, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
At this point. So it's impressive, and good for him from getting noticed, but he didn't actually win. No.
Right. All right. Well, let's move on to the tracks here, starting with the first track. First track, Horses.
Horses. So, yeah.
Immediately with this song, I really liked the fiddle. I'm a sucker for like fiddle and steel guitar and stuff like that, which I'll mention later in the album. But that song specifically, to me, I think this is a pretty good opener.
I love this song. I think it's one of the strongest songs on the album. It's we were saying that like this album's less political, and you were saying like maybe War is a God is the most political. I'd say this is the second most of the list. Do you like, what did you take from the song in terms of its like message?
I took about how being bitter and hateful, how it takes a toll on you as a person, and how you should kind of live without being mad all the time, because then you have it takes all the meaning out of life. That's what I thought of it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty on point. I think that the chorus is like the most like poignant thing here in terms of like its message. Like it's all like I used to, because the song's called Horses by he's I used to get here, like, I'll just read you some of the lyrics, right? I really thought there was a power in thinking half of y'all were just born fools. And that's referencing the fact that the political divide, left, right, the culture war of like the last, I don't know, 10 years, if not longer. Right.
I'd say 20, 25 years, even like,
sure.
Like 9/11, I think was really when that starts, but
yeah, right. But especially when it's like, I think for me, like when Trump comes along and this red-blue divide, like this Democrat, Republican in Canada, we're Canadians, conservative, liberal, the colors are different, but effectively, that more of that like polarizing view, right? And Jesse, I would call him a progressive, right? Yeah, so he says, I used to think there was power in thinking half of y'all were just born fools, meaning that the half that are not on his political side. I thought I was gathering oats for my horses, but I was actually getting by whipping my mules. Is like this is the chorus of the song. And
love the rhythm to that, by the way. That chorus, I just the way he sings it, it's so sing-along is the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, and then like how he follows up that by singing, I'm singing the song about loving all the people that you've come to hate. It's true what they say. I'm gonna die someday. Why am I holding on to all this weight? And that's really like this idea of like you can dismiss the other side of the people you disagree with, and you don't have to. It doesn't mean you have to agree with them, but right. He wasn't gathering oats for his horses. He was actually just being he was just whipping a mule. He wasn't accomplishing anything, you know. There was nothing being progressed or being helped.
Yeah, that's a pretty reasonable takeaway from the song. And I like the way he says half of you. He doesn't specify which half. I think that makes it more identifiable for anyone on either side of the political spectrum.
Yeah, I'd also have, even how the song starts off, right? He talks about all my flannel made in Bangladesh, all my t-shirts in Vietnam. There are places that we quietly ignore. There are places that we go and bomb. And he talks about, I've learned a lot about Jesus, even more about Lao Tzu. They say that the way of the Tao is to do nothing, but the hell am I supposed to do? It's also like feeling like, oh, there's all this bad stuff in the world,
but what am I going to do about it?
But what I'm I can't, I'm supposed to turn the other cheek. How am I, this frustration and this sort of this he talks about the tighter you grip, the more that you slip. The more you dig in your trenches, the probably the worse off you are.
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense.
And this is like a song I'd say War Isn't Murder. It was one of the early songs I'm exposed to by Jesse, but this is also an earlier song that I heard from him. He played this on the Jimmy Kimmel show, along with the Poor song, right? If you worked a little harder, you'd be you wouldn't be so poor. So he played this song and that one that night. This one he played with a full band. Whereas the Under the Powerline songs are typically more of just him and a guitar, whereas this has got a full arrangement, as we saw when we went to his concert.
He has a band. I don't know if the band has any name.
Sometimes it's like the Jesse Wells band. I would say is probably
okay.
Sometimes it's called, because he's got another album called Playing with the Devil. Which I believe refers to his piano player. So when he's fully he takes his songs and he adds this full band and he adds a piano and he goes, "Hey, I'm playing with the devil," right? Not just me.
Okay. That makes sense. But you think of certain artists, you think of Bruce Springsteen, the E Street Band, and all that sort of stuff. Ronnie Hawkins famously had the band as his backup band
before Bob Dylan did.
Yeah,
because they were Ronnie Hawkins and the Hawks.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and then it was Levon and the Hawks for a bit. Right. But it's interesting you bring up Bob Dylan too, because Jesse Wells gets compared a lot to Bob Dylan.
Yes.
And he talks about Bob Dylan being an influence, as well as Kurt Cobain, right, being a big influence for him.
That makes a lot of sense too.
And I see a lot of that, not in this song as much, but a lot of the other songs that come later in this album. I'm this is. I see a lot of Nirvana here, and there's being this sort of message around angst and frustration and everything else. But back to Bob Dylan, the fact that Bob Dylan starts off as this folk singer, right? Just a guy on a guitar, and then when he started playing with the band, which was
the electric,
the electric, that was considered selling out and becoming a bad person and giving up on the movement and everything else. Also commercialism, right? Because obviously, the more brought together arrangement, a full band is more. It's more commercial. You can sell it more than just a guy on a stage with a guitar, which is people like that too, but it's not as mass appeal.
No, yeah. And going back to Cobain for a second, I think that Cobain makes a lot of sense, because not even just look at Cobain and then look at Jesse Wells. I can even see they look similar.
Yeah, they got a similar energy. Just how they even if you watch old Cobain interviews and you watch it when Jesse Wells gives an interview, it's kind of a shyness, I would say, but also a lot to say underneath as well.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to say about the song before we move on?
It's a great track. Very easy to listen to, and it's got a good message. So yeah, not much more. I think we covered it.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty good. Certain, I'd say this is a good second song. It keeps the momentum going pretty well, you know.
Yeah, so this one, like, it's good too. It's more of like an easy listening song. Um, you know, what I do to be certain. It's about I think tying back to the horses song and thinking you got all the answers.
Right.
You know, it's like it's really impressive some of the lyrics he puts together in this song. You know, I heard the quasi-psychedelic jester gladiator on his compound in the flower of the Mexican War. You'll become what you hate if you seek to replace what you hate. I've never seen it more. It's a hard way to find out. You don't want to be a horn when they're already blowing in the middle of a storm. You know, it's like it's really well written poetry. You know, you know,
yeah, he's a great poet. I think that it's beautiful, and also like just makes you think. It's really well articulated, and it makes its point pretty well.
Yeah, and this verse in particular too, I really liked. He goes, I see that hate has some pep in its step. I would too with that big blank check. All that back-ass preachers out in Oklahoma getting high, stoned on their own aromas. It's a hard way to find out it ain't about love. That fear is a comfort. It fits like a glove.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And you know, it's more of like it's a little bit more of a softer song, but you know, it's very, like I said, very like easy to put on and just kind of do what you're doing and listen.
I really like. So I mentioned before, I really like fiddle. I also really like steel guitar, and so the steel guitar in this song really appeals to me. You know, that's an instrument I just love, and I think it's done pretty well on this song.
Yeah, and it's interesting that he. You know, so I guess he wrote this episode or this song in 2024. And he, like, as a Star Trek fan myself, he says, I'm writing to you from Earth, Stardate 2020 and 4, which, you know, kind of a Star Trek reference. So I'm interested if he's into Star Trek to reference as a star date.
Right. Is that can you like discern star dates? Is that the thing you can do? Would that be like a
no?
Star date?
Okay, so if you're not a Star Trek person, so star dates, like the reason they would say star date, you know, and they would always give us a random number. It was just the show's way of telling us it's set in the future. But you know, so I don't think it's that tied in with it, but it also ties like with the whole thing with this album he called The Middle. You know, he references the middle several times, different versions of what the middle means. You know, in this song, it's like the third line, in the middle of an ocean, and I can hardly see the shore. It's a hard way to find out. You don't want to be a sailor halfway across in your mother's trailer.
And yeah, I know that speaks to me a lot, because oftentimes I find that, you know, we can go back to the left right-ism of the previous song. I find that I'm not really like, I lean left, but I don't really consider myself hard left or hard right. I consider myself
like, that's what do you consider yourself? I guess, yeah.
Like, I'd consider myself like a left leaning centrist.
Yeah, you know what the funny thing is, I probably would say that something similar, but like I don't know if it's completely true. Like, I agree that we don't need to put ourselves into boxes all the time, and you know, but I like there are definitely some viewpoints I don't share with like all leftists, but I broadly consider myself to be left. But it doesn't mean I can't accept an idea or a concept or a thought from the right, if you will, you know, if I think it has merit. So, you know, but like I don't believe in subscribing to a pure ideological viewpoint either.
I don't either. Yeah. All right. Anything else before the next track?
No, that covers it. Good one.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. So, I'm gonna be honest. I did not expect a blues song from Jesse Wells. I mean, it's not really out of his wheelhouse, but like, it just didn't immediately come to my mind. And when I heard it, I was like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I feel so goddamn bad. I'm sorry. I'm the worst thing you ever had. It's definitely like a song about self-doubt and, yeah, blues, I guess, is the right theme. Being sad,
Well, it's a blues song, right? It's got that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can only describe it as like "Ain't No Rest for the Wicked." Like it's got a very similar rhythm to that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like for me, it's a transition track in this album. You know, like it's not something I probably would listen to in a vacuum, but within the album, I think it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. My main problem with this song actually is I feel like that I'm sorry" goes on a few too many times and a bit too long.
Yeah, the song's like 3 minutes and 17 seconds in total. So I don't know. You know, it's okay. It's not my favorite track by any means, but it's okay.
No. Yeah. On to the next track. Fear is the Mind Killer. So, classic. I mean, that's obviously a classic statement. People have said that a lot of the time. Yeah.
This was the song I was listening to right before I came on the podcast. It was like it's a really deep song, and I'm just sitting there with the lyrics on the screen trying to follow it, and I'm like, okay, like compared to some of Jesse's other lyrics and songs, like this one, it's deep. It's like you got to really, like when I say you got to really sit there and analyze this one. I was finding myself doing that and not answering all my questions about what the song's even about.
Yeah, that's fine. That happens sometimes,
Yeah, but musically, I do think the song's good. And like it's not that I don't think it's good lyrically. I just think you don't necessarily know what it's about. But like I think the title, "Fear is the Mind Killer," like fear is bad. It leaves you with nowhere to run. Plant the seeds of hate within you. Fear, right? It's about not giving in to fear.
And also it's about the impetus of bigotry. I think how fear becomes hatred.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's got a good like little hook there too. Like, how was I supposed to know that my soul was going to grow into a big soul flower? Like it's catchy. Yeah. Like
my favorite part was the chorus. I felt like the layered vocals gave it an anthemic quality to it, almost, for lack of a better description.
Yeah, like it like I think that this is one of the stronger songs actually on the album.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wheel. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie. When I was listening to this song on the album, this one doesn't stick out much to me.
Wheel. Sorry, I have to remind myself.
Yeah, that's kind of my point, though, is that it's a pretty standard song. This one doesn't stick out. Like when I was listening to this album, there were certain songs that stuck out to me, and this was not one of them.
Like it feels a lot like some of the other songs. It like I would agree with you. Like it's not a bad song.
Yes.
We're talking Wheel, right?
Yeah, Wheel.
You still have the Fear is Mind Killer up.
Oh, I apologize. Yes, I need to change that. Yes, there we go.
Wheel keeps on spinning, turning. Yeah, it's it's okay. It doesn't have a lot to say. I'd probably skip it most of the time.
Yeah, I don't think this is like nobody's coming to this album and be like, "Oh man, my favorite song on this album is Wheel."
I don't. Well, maybe it's somebody's favorite song, but yeah, it's almost 4 minutes. This song, so it does feel a bit long to me too. And it doesn't it doesn't hit you with like, wow, what a thought, or with what a poem or anything. Like to me, it's like it's all about getting to the next song.
Yeah, this is definitely a skip song.
Yeah.
Anything But Me. I like this one. It slows down a little bit. We've been having a pretty consistent pace throughout this album. Sometimes you have to slow things down. It's a bit more introspective. I really appreciate that. Yeah,
I guess in the way that like I'm Sorry was, it kind of feels like a little bit of the next song, like in that theme after I'm Sorry. Anything But Me, it's more self-deprecating,
Right.
I think if I'm interpreting it right. I should have been a bird, a
Yeah,
sparrow, or an eagle, a crow, or a seagull flying over the sea. I should have been a sailor, a cowboy, or a jailer, anything but me. Like this idea that you're not good enough in who you are. You know, I should have been something else.
Yeah, or that you just hate your life. You're not happy where you are.
Or if you're feeling that regret of not having, you know, what were my dreams, you know, like, you know, or even this idea you have to accomplish one, you have to be like, you know, something else other than anything but you to be happy, right? Let it be me, anything but me. And trying to find, you know, that being content with who you are. It ends with, I'm up on the mountain doing some crying underneath the Pleiades and the Orion. Seek ye the roller of celestial stones, a packet of cigarettes, and a book of poems. I should have been a bird, an eagle, etc. Like the goes to the chorus.
Yeah,
it's a good song. I think this is. I would give this like 8 out of 10. It's a good. Yeah.
So something that stuck out to me is the songs that I realized this going through the album, but this is the song that really cemented to me that, well, I consider Jesse Wells a folk artist. This is a country album, or at least like a country folk album.
It's like Americana, whatever that means to you, because I think it's kind of a generic term in the genre sense, right? It's like this. It's somewhere between country and rock and blues. It's kind of a catch-all term. Like when I think of Americana, I often think of the band. You know, I think of Bob Dylan.
And I've always hated the term Americana because, like, when you think of, there are so many Americana people who are Canadian. You just mentioned the band. You know, there's Neil Young. You know, people like that. You know, what is Americana if? Is Canadians Americana?
How do we distinguish between folk music, country music, and Americana music? Would be my question to you. You know, like these lines are blurred, right? And they kind of, you know, they kind of bleed into each other. You know, so like, so you're thinking anything but me is more of a country song to you, or?
Yeah, just in the sound of it, not necessarily in the lyrics, but just sound. You know, there were some other songs that really came across that way.
I guess like you know, anything with that, it's probably that banjo in particular that I think this song does use, that you're getting that from. You know, probably. Country, like if you have a cowboy hat on, you're definitely a country song. Like, you know, in my mind. It's kind of a certain twang to the singing that makes that for me that makes it more country, and I don't think Jesse does that really in most of his singing. But he, you know, the guy's from Arkansas. You know, he's got to have a bit of that in there for sure.
It definitely makes sense that it's there. Yeah, like it's not fake or anything. It definitely makes sense considering where he's from.
Like what other artists have fallen into Americana? Like you know, even like the Lumineers have been called Americana, and and Mumford and Sons,
right?
Bands like that, right?
I wouldn't really consider those Americana artists, but yeah, I mean,
even Simon and Garfunkel, or you know, like the early days of it, right?
Right. You know, it's like I guess it's like asking what's the difference between rock and classic rock,
or what's the difference between hard rock and heavy metal,
right?
You know, like there are differences, but
it's very vague what those differences are.
Right. Well, like, how do you like even Nirvana? Like, let's take Nirvana, right? Like, what are they, a rock band, right? But are they an alternative rock band? Rock grunge. So we would say they're different than like the Eagles, right?
Yeah,
or somebody like that.
I've always hated the term pop and alt because those don't describe anything about a genre, right? Think about it. Like, you know, you can think about like a modern pop star. Like, let's talk about like I don't know, like Taylor Swift, I guess. Think about Taylor Swift. Yeah. And then think about Michael Jackson, right? Those are both pop artists.
Right. They're from different time periods, yeah.
But they're completely different musically.
Well, pop in particular is like whatever is popular is kind of where the name comes from, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
it's not
so,
a definition of the sound. It's a definition of.
Does Taylor Swift not fall into country and rock? She does, but like
Well, in her earlier stuff, but
like Michael Jackson won rock and roll awards, even though he was considered pop or the Prince of Pop or all this, right? Anyway, like there are certain genres that are very distinct, but I would not say
there are some that are very vague. Yeah, for sure. Moving on to Every Grain of Sand. This song didn't stick out to me much on the album either. It's probably the weakest song on the album, I think. It's got like an island vibe is the best way I can describe it. It's like you're on a desert island. But
just about a 3-minute song. I don't like, I was again, like it's kind of an introspective song for me. Every grain of sand through the hourglass, every grain of sand, I'm going to squeeze everything I can out of every last grain of sand. It's about getting the most out of life, So I think speaking to his personal philosophies, and how he looks at the world.
Right. That makes sense. I like the lyrics, but I just don't. This wouldn't be a song I come back to musically.
This is like the most country kind of a start to it, or even bluegrass.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree.
Like to me, that's like old school, like bluesy bluegrass. I think.
It sounds like something that like my grandfather would listen to. He's a huge country fan. It sounds like something he could listen to.
Yeah, you could see like Johnny Cash or somebody singing this song. Like that's how like it definitely. So more so than the previous song, I feel like this is the most country so far.
Yeah, I would agree.
Old school country, not like modern country.
Yeah, no, absolutely old school country. Like I said, something that my grandfather would listen to,
or even your great grandfather would have listened to.
Yeah. Simple Gifts. I think this is a nice change of pace. On this more produced album, this sounds like it could have been on like Under the Power Lines or something like that. It's more of just Jesse and the guitar.
Like this would fit under the Power Lines. I think you're right with that. How long is this song? This song is 3 minutes and 14 seconds.
Do you feel like it's paced well?
So it's okay. I'm just looking at the chorus. When true simplicity is gained, how much then is lost? I invested in them feelings. I paid dearly for them thoughts. In the cockpit of a spacecraft unknown with an acquaintance, it occurred to me my mind was probably overdue for maintenance. Some clever stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, it's Jesse's an amazing writer. I think that's one of the main reasons you come to him as an artist. But it's just nice.
Right, like when he ends the song, when true simplicity is gained, how much then is lost? When will then I be self-assured? Will then I be self-assured? How I envy all them stones, they never say a word. So, yeah, it's I guess
what's your interpretation of that?
I think it's like this. It's the idea of envying inanimate objects, and that it's hard to be a person sometimes and try to sort out all these ideas in this world and what you believe in, and that's basically what I take from the song is that. Sometimes he's like, I'd rather be a stone, I'd rather be
I'm sure that's a thought that a lot of people
tree or something like that, but also this idea that like life comes with inherent risk and cost to a certain extent. Like once you say something out loud, people can criticize what you said. Once you have any kind of a notion or a belief, it can be torn down, right? That can be really hard.
Yeah.
And that's the idea of simple gifts.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I don't really have anything else to say about that. Now, starting with this track, Why Don't You Love Me, I think that the strongest part of this album is absolutely the last 4 tracks of this album, and this is a great start to it. You know, I really like the way it starts more somber. I think this is probably the most somber, maybe not most somber sounding, but like one of the more somber sounding tracks on the album.
It's somber, but I really love the arrangement on it. I get real like Fleetwood Mac vibes from this song. You know, it's like just the way it's brought together. And I find it's pretty easy. Like this song is very good to put on in the background. Maybe compared to some of the slower songs on this album, I feel like you can like it's very engaging. Like you could put this on at a party. Yeah, it's fun.
Oh yeah. That makes sense. And you know, I didn't really get anything much out of it. Like I guess it's about confusion is kind of what I got. I don't even know if it's about love from a person. I think it's more about...
we can analyze it. Why Don't You Love Me? Because I don't really know if I understand what the song's about. Okay, it starts off with, I was reading Blood Meridian on the hood of my car, fantasizing wild ponies and electric guitars. I was contemplating storm clouds on the edge of the sky. It's best you don't ask questions if you can't handle why. Why don't you love me, honey? Why can't it be love? What's it got to be? Anything. Why ain't I enough? Why don't you love me, honey? What can I prove? I just as soon you hate me than try to make do. I just as soon you hate me than try to make do. So I don't really know what the song's about. I
guess maybe it's about not asking questions you don't want the answer to.
Well, that's definitely one of the parts of the song, but what's in reference, why don't, the song keeps asking, why don't you love me, honey? What can I prove? What's it got to be? Anything? Well, ain't I enough? So it's almost like a love song, right? Or unrequited love.
Yeah. Right.
As well. I don't know if it has a political message or not.
I don't think it does. No, I think it's more philosophical than anything.
Or it's just about some crush who didn't love him back or something like that.
Something like that.
It says, I threw a coin at my reflection on the edge of the lake. Then I rode off in the sunset on the back of a snake. Some say the devil is a woman. Some say the devil is a man. I think the devil is a painting. You just don't understand.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's a painting. You just
I think that because it's saying what's the devil, right? Some say the devil is a woman. Some say the devil is a man. I think the devil is a painting, or I guess an idea, right? Like a fabrication, like a work of fiction. You just don't understand. Maybe that's what it means. It'd be fascinating to actually ask him these questions. Like, what is this? What are you trying to say with this?
Yeah, that would be.
What does it mean? What does it mean, Jesse?
What does it mean? Tell me your secrets.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the next song, Rocket Man. When you mentioned at the beginning of the show how we went to that show with him in Toronto, and this was one of my favorite songs when we went there.
He did play that this night, didn't he? Yeah. Right.
Yeah, he did. I remember this because I remember the guitar.
Yeah, it's got a great guitar riff. Yeah, it's
I almost described it as galloping. Is the way I wrote it down.
Galloping, yeah. It's got a real good rhythm to it. It's kind of like an old timey, by old timey I mean it feels like a 60s 70s rock song to me.
Yes, I could definitely see that.
I could see the band playing this. I could see artists, even the Eagles, playing a song like this. It's good. It's rock, and it's. I don't know. I was studying the lyrics, and I was not I felt like it might even be about AI.
Yeah, why did you get that?
Okay, well, because he says on the 8th day, man made a machine likened to his image. Then we were there like those who dreamed. And he argued whether or not it would kill and eat his village. Then we were like those who dream. All the stones that broke the bones came aim the soul within you. Time's just a thing you live through, baby. I don't know. I was like, I don't know what this song's about, but it's interesting. It's like, I think that's the whole thing with this album is like compared to his other songs, like we said Under the Power Lines, where he'll make a song called like Red, which is all about like, Trump basically and Trump's administration. You know exactly what it's about. But like with songs like most of the songs on this album, you're like, I don't like, it's like poetry. It's mostly poetry you're left to interpret.
Yeah.
I think is kind of like the main thing.
There's definitely meanings there. It's just vague. Yeah.
And I think deliberately so. I think after however many songs he wrote that were pretty much on the nose, I think part of him wanted to do something a little different here, like do something just more purely artistic, and musical and more open to interpretation. So I think I think the fact that you and I are like, I don't know what this song's about is kind of on purpose.
Yeah, that makes sense. And we talked about Dylan again. Dylan was known for intentionally cryptic lyrics. Yeah,
intentionally cryptic. Yeah, but it's a good song. Like it's very
great song.
Yeah. It's one of the better ones maybe on the album.
I think so too. And then onto the penultimate track, War is a God. This is maybe my new favorite Jesse Wells song. I'm not gonna lie. This was my favorite song on the album.
Yeah, like okay, this is like a song I've listened to just on its own all the time. We mentioned his like the first song I listened to, which was "War Isn't Murder," which is all about like war isn't murder. When you're fighting the devil, murder's okay. This song is kind of related to that, although it's a very structurally it's very different. War is a God is all about America, right? And this idea of like, what if I think talk about the whole American military industrial complex, right? And what if war is a god and we're just super superstitious?
Right.
We are so religious. We have to bomb everybody. We have to, inflict this pain on the world. And
it's got that. It's got that any end justify the means.
Well, but also like this fervent devotion to war, like in the same way religion is. I think
a lot of Americans have, that's very much a thing. A lot of Americans, I think, have this very, to me, weird pride in the American military. They think it's something you can't criticize.
Well, there's that, but it's also, I think, like a lot of people have their jobs tied into it. Like they either work for the military or they're a contractor who makes, whatever. It could be missiles, it could be bombs, it could be, their equipment. But that there's a kind of there's a lot of business to it. And I think I think they all have different reasons, but it's definitely, why can't we seem to get out of this? Right. I think, because that's how the song ends, right? I saw a man who made a war with his right hand blown apart, throw a stick at a machine. It was his final work of art. Seated, bleeding out, his kneecap taken off. And that's the story of the whole world. And I can't seem to make it stop. Right.
I appreciate the brutality in the imagery. I think that Jesse, we talked about War Isn't Murder, but it's like, we kind of glorify war in some ways, and these two songs are kind of about, no, war is hell. It's just a bunch of higher ups sending millions of people to fight for things that don't concern those people for whatever.
Well, I agree that that's part of what the song's about, but I think more importantly is that he can't, how that last line ends. I can't seem to make it stop. I can't seem to find a solution. Because we're in this pattern, right, of constant war, and even how what I really love with the song is how he's just let's split up, you go south and I'll go north, and we'll try to find the answers. We're gonna try to at least come back with a report, and we're gonna come up with a strategy for how to get out of this, right?
And they can't come up with anything. Yeah.
Right. And I think this idea of letting go, the next verse is it doesn't matter who was here first. It doesn't matter who was last. All that matters is we're here right now. Could the past just be the past? Why? Like, but that's also very human to hold on to these grudges, right?
Mhm.
Bloodshed and starvation. Bloodshed, take heed. They both got the same damn god. They just don't know how to read. And then,
Mhm.
and then we get the chorus. Maybe war is a god, and we're just super superstitious.
Right.
It's going to take a lot of blood because boy, are we religious.
Yeah, and then the follow-up line is that, as I believe, we all have the same damn god. We just call them different things, or something like that.
Yeah, well, maybe man didn't make the war. Maybe war is just a god. And every bullet, every bombshell, meditations thrown aloft, bloodshed, starvation, bloodshed and pain. We all have the same damn god. We just call it different names, So
Yeah.
it's we almost like the cycle of violence, I guess.
Mhm.
You think about it like Christians against Muslims, or
Yeah, exactly. We're
or
fighting. Yeah.
whatever, right? Like this idea that we're so devoted to our ideology and our belief system being the correct one, and seeing and I have to defeat my enemy to serve my god, right?
Right.
To sort of a higher power, a
Yes.
greater calling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a great interpretation. I think, again, this is the best song on the album, and
Yeah, I think for me it's probably this or Horses.
yeah.
I think that Horses, like more like the other tracks, is a little bit more open to interpretation. This song, you don't have to question what it's about. You know exactly what it's about.
Yeah, I'd agree. And then finally, Middle. This is the last song on the album.
This is the title track.
Yes, and I think when you put it like that, I didn't even think about it in the moment, but as you were spelling out the whole idea of middle through this album, I think that this makes sense for the last track. It caps the themation of that, being in the middle of things.
Yeah, like this song is a little slower. It's a little bit more introspective. It's just trying to remind myself. Yeah, it's mostly just Jesse playing guitar, right? Like I don't even think it has much of an accompaniment at all.
No.
Like if
it has a little bit, if I remember correctly, but not really.
Yeah, what does he say here? When the devil plays his fiddle, I'm gonna meet you in the middle, friend, with my silver droid companion beeping at my side as we gazed into the moonset, wondering where in space we'd hide. All the green skinned princesses.
Star Wars.
As we
I feel like
gained
that's
into
a
the
Star
moonset,
Wars reference.
wondering where in space we'd hide. I don't know if it's a Star Wars reference, but then he says all the green-skinned princes in a system far away saying proverbs I can't mean in a language I can't say. Like it's I like the song. You can listen to it for sure. It's definitely more of a quieter song, an interesting one.
It tells too. Yeah.
Ironically, he puts it at the very end of this album instead of in the middle, which is where I would put it on a song called Middle.
This is the funny thing about things like that. They don't always end up how you think they're going to end up.
No, I guess not.
Anyways, with that's all the album. So, yeah.
Yeah, we got. Well, hey, all 12 tracks. Good thing we didn't do it to the power lines. We would be here for another hour.
I know we would be not even another hour. I think we'd be here for like 2 hours. But let me just put up the.
We got a comment here. Oh, it's just a spam comment.
Yes. All right. How's that look? Oh, gotta put it up.
You still okay?
It didn't put up automatically for some reason. All right, so in terms of, we start with music. I would give this a solid 9 out of 10. I think that it's fundamentally just really strong, and I love most of the instrumentation. I just like Jesse's instrumentation in general, but
yeah, like the songs I love on this album, I would give them 10s, right? But there's a bunch of songs on here that I would probably not listen to that often. So I'm torn on how to rate the entire album. I'm probably closer to 8 on the album.
Yeah, that's completely understandable. Lyrically, I'd actually give this I'm actually going to give this a 10. I think that this has some of the most interesting and just thought-provoking lyrics, even if I don't understand them. It's just beautiful poetry.
Yeah, I agree. It's a 10 for lyrics. Like what you can't ask for much more.
No, I really don't think you can. Next up, the pacing of the album.
Like a few of the, in my opinion, a few of the songs are long, but
yeah, and a few songs I don't really come back to. I wouldn't really come back to on this album, so I'll give it like a 7.
Like I think in particular, I'm sorry, that one feels too long.
Yeah,
even though it's not the longest on the album, right?
Like, but it feels long. It
feels long. Every grain of sand a little bit too.
I'd agree.
Even though again it's one of the shorter songs, so it's weird how a couple of the shorter songs feel longer. So pacing wise, I don't know, 7.
Yeah, that's fair. Visually, I'll give it like a 5. It's nothing interesting. It's just
a guy with a guitar.
Just a guy with a guitar
and a font and a script, like a cursive font.
So. Yeah, that and so, sometimes that's all it needs to be, but like still not changing. It's not changing the world.
Yeah, visually, I give it a 8.
Yeah, that's fair.
That might be a little high, but I would feel bad going lower than that, I guess.
That's fair. Production, I'll give it a solid. Yeah, I'll give it a solid 9. I think that the production really helps. The way the album sounds. Everything.
Well, do you think there's anything on the production that sounds bad or subpar?
No, I just think that there's better.
You just think there's better.
Yeah.
Like for me, I don't know if there is. I go 10 on production. I have no critiques. So that's fair. Mostly
cool. And then how do I do the average?
So just copy the one above. So no, not there. So see that yellow 6.5?
Yeah.
Hit Control C. This is where a dad teaches his son Excel, and then hit Control V.
Okay, yep. So it will do that. Okay,
but you have to do that in each case.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to do it there.
Cool.
There you go.
And then we go over here.
Yeah, it should already do it. Yeah, it looks like we already got it. So it looks, what are we averaging? 6.9?
Mm-hmm.
Well, hold on. I would have to look at the formula. I haven't looked at the spreadsheet in a while. But
yeah, that's fair. Seems to be. Yeah, so my pacing score really brought this down to a 6.9, which I feel like does not represent how I like this album. But yeah, I guess it's getting a little skewed by that.
Yeah, let me have a look here. Okay, metal. Oh yeah, you don't, because 6.9 is not for this album, Eamon. That's for.
Oh, that's for the previous album.
Yeah, we're at 8.3.
Oh, okay.
Just gonna make sure that's. Yeah, I'm just gonna hide this for now. Yeah, we're at 8.3.
Cool.
There you go. So yeah, where do you want to go from here?
Well, I think this is a really good album. What are your thoughts overall on this album?
Like, I wish you had picked Under the Power Lines in some ways, because I think we would have had more to talk about on some of these songs. But like, it's like, so what I
think we could do that album later. I just wanted to have something a little easier to ease
I get
into.
It. Yeah, so for me, like, there were like, I think there were three like big hits on this album, at least 2. I think Choruses and War is a God. I think these 2 songs in particular are the big standouts in this album.
Yep.
And I think a couple of the other songs are good too, like, but are they huge hits? Like, I think the biggest one for me is probably Middle, and then even Rocket Man might be the one I would recommend to people.
I would actually switch those 2, but yeah, otherwise I pretty much agree that those are the big hits from this album. I don't think this album, like, in Jesse's repertoire, is like a must listen to, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think this is like the one which, like, again, he was trying to be something more than just the protest song guy, right? Yeah. And I think he accomplishes that in this album. Like,
For sure.
like I think he's able to show off his talent, even if every song he makes isn't necessarily what I want on my playlist. You know, but they're not like, I don't hate listening to them either. It's just like, you know, I think that his protest songs are what he does really well.
I'd agree. That's his
but I don't think he should have to be only that. I think he's right to kind of make stuff like this. That's kind of everything.
That makes sense. Yeah. All right. With that all wrapped up, I guess we'll do advertisements and then we'll wrap things up. So
advertisements. Do we have advertisers?
Or I mean, like, you know, the other shows.
Oh, cool.
You know, you got Super Mader Brothers going on. What are you guys talking about right now?
Well, right now we're on hiatus, but we just wrapped up Survivor 50 back in May, and we're going to be starting on Survivor 51.
And when does that start?
That starts September.
That starts September. Okay. How has the recent Survivor been? I was actually just before this watching like a downfall of Survivor video, and I was just like, oh, this will be interesting to talk to Dad about, because I know you're very interested in that sort of stuff.
Well, like, it's like Survivor, like, I thought season 50 was really good. And I, you know, like, largely because they had a whole bunch of different returning people. Like, actually, it was all was it all returning? I think it was. Yeah, it was all returning people.
What did you think of the voting system
on Survivor?
Yeah, wasn't that the gimmick of the season? I remember reading up on that. It was like you had fan involvement.
Well, it was called In the Hands of the Fans, and mostly I liked it. But when they tried to bring the celebrity fans in, I think that mostly fell flat. I think that because they bring in Billie Eilish at one point,
and then Mr. Beast, I heard too, was on there.
Well, at least Mr. Beast showed up on the show. Mr. Beast seems like he's a legitimate fan of Survivor, right? Whereas like Billie Eilish, she basically like lended her name to it, and it was called it was called the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol, and like it was idea that was meant to like boomerang back if somebody got voted out within her pocket. But she admitted on like the Amy Poehler podcast that she never listened to the show. And or watched the show, and it was kind of just a promotional thing. So so there was that, and there was the other example with Jimmy Fallon from the Tonight Show,
which is a weird decision to me, but
yeah, he made like this twist that like ended up getting somebody like knocked. They had to vote themselves out of Survivor. Because of the Jimmy Fallon twist, because Jimmy Fallon basically made them do a challenge that he thought that they would win, but they didn't win. And then it was just kind of like, and then the person was super mad at Jimmy Fallon. So that part was funny to me. But I thought that the Mr. Beast came in for the season, and he basically doubled the prize money from $1 million to $2 million.
Wow.
So
that's pretty cool, you know, and I think that makes a lot of sense considering what he's known for, you know, absorbing amounts of money. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So it sounds like he was the best guest of them, for sure.
Yeah.
And you got Trivial Debates. Have you guys done any episodes recently?
Yeah, we just did a Babylon 5 themed Trivial Debates. I think it was 2 weeks ago, I think. Was it this past Sunday, or was it 2 weeks? I can't remember now. It's been a few days. But we finally did it. We were planning that out for months, and that was the 99th episode of Trivial Debates, and we are about to do the 100th episode, if you can believe it.
That's exciting. You know, do you have
we're bringing back the original crew. We're bringing back the original episode 1 people.
So that's what, you, Jody, Kevin, and
no,
Jeff?
It's me, Jody, Jeff, and Jerry McRae.
Okay, that's exciting.
Yeah,
and that makes you host, I believe.
Well, I was the original host, and I get maybe I'll still be. I guess I think that's the plan, is that I'll be the host again, and the same questions. We're gonna do the same questions from episode 1 again, and see if we get any different results. Okay,
yeah, that's very interesting. What's going on in the you know, at UFP right now, or you know, the Star Trek shows and stuff like that?
So yeah, over on the Live Long and Podcast channel, which is our Star Trek channel, every Monday we're talking different shows. We've fallen into a Monday and Thursday night pattern right now. So Monday nights we've looked at a bunch of different shows for a while. We did Enterprise, and then we did the Orville, and then we did For All Mankind, which is like an Apple show, and now we are into
Firefly.
We're doing Firefly right now. Yeah,
and you're liking Firefly?
It's fine. Yeah, it's like yeah.
That's interesting for me to hear because, you know, Firefly is one of those always, oh, why did it get canceled sort of shows.
I see why it was canceled.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's not bad, but it's okay. It's not I don't think it's like the be all and end all, if you will.
That's fair. And then coming up this Monday on this show, we are doing Proto Man Act 3. This City Made Us with Chris Murphy. That's going to be really exciting. You know, we did the Act 2 on this show, and it's been like 16 years in the waiting. Actually, I think like 17 years in the waiting for this follow-up to the album. So that's going to be very exciting to talk about.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're getting back into it. It could be your 20th episode, right? Because you're back streaming again after 2 years of school.
Yep. So that's going to be exciting. Really happy to get back into it, and you know, I'd be happy for everyone to watch. You know, it's. I've started listening to it. It's a really good album.
Oh, the Proto Man.
Yeah.
And you said what night are you doing that?
Monday afternoon.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's kind of hard getting a defined schedule with a show like this. You always got to get guests, so you kind of work around the guest schedule.
Well, tell me about it. It's the life of a hustler producer.
Yeah, exactly. But with all that, you know, that's all I have to say.
Well, yeah, and I guess the other Federation show we'll plug is Jason and Steven over on Hey, Did You See This One? Every Thursday night, they're talking about a different movie. I'm going on with Jameel in October for Scream 3. I just want to have a peek at what they're doing tomorrow night. Yeah, have you met those guys?
Yeah, I think I have. I haven't done an episode with them, but yeah, that would be interesting.
Oh, well, it's like a 4-hour marathon. Yeah, so they are on, it appears tomorrow, 6 days. Or did they cancel last week? Sucker Punch, I think they're doing next.
Sucker Punch. Okay, yeah, that's a very interesting movie.
Yeah. So good. Check out those guys. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, I definitely do. With that, I would say that is it. And thank you for coming on the show, Dad. And thank you to everyone who watched.
Well, thank you. And we look forward to many more episodes here on Eamon on Track.
Yes. Cool. Struggling to find the outro video.
It's right there. You want me to play it?
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you next time, everyone, here on Eamon on Track. Have a good night.
Yes. Good night.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, Did You See This One? And take a peek into the darkness with Heard Noise, Must Investigate with Michael Chan. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mader Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.